in my zine, I have a section where I talk about finding community in New York. And there's only one place where I've really found a really strong community in New York, which is these weekly Tuesday night dinners that I go to in Brooklyn, and that's actually how I met Max. One of the other things I talk about New York is it's kind of neat that everybody that you ever knew moves to New York. For example, my high school friends moved to New York. I have a college ex-boyfriend that moved to New York. I have friends from Atlanta that moved to New York. And it turns out that a really close relative moved to New York, and that's how I know Damien, through my sister's husband's cousin. Because this is my sister's cousin's husband's boyfriend, Damian, Captain Joyce, who's going to read for us next.
Alright, my zine is about this horrible trip I took through Canada. 2006, summer 2006. Supposed to be a train hopping trip, but everything went wrong, and it ended up being a hitchhiking trip. And I met a lot of terrible people. And so, I also had a deadline, which didn't help. And so this is sort of the middle of the zine where we just spent a day or a couple days in Calgary, which is like the worst city in North America. And we finally, after trying to hitchhike or hop trains out of it, we're just like, fuck it, we're gonna hitchhike. And after a night of spending, we spent the night underneath the overpass by a train yard, and it was just awful. And we're like, fuck it, we're gonna go hitchhike. So this is it. This is getting out of Calgary. From a flat, straight stretch of highway, we waged our last battle against Calgary. An hour into it, a large pickup truck came to a sudden halt at the center divide. It was an unusual maneuver, but we were in no position to hesitate. We dashed across the highway and got in. "Get her done," the driver said. No sooner had we slammed the door shut, the truck peeled out into the fast lane. He was a stocky guy, of First Nations heritage, in his early 30s. There was a faint scar on his cheek and another above his eyebrow. I was sitting next to him and could smell alcohol on his breath and on his person. His name was Brian. He chewed tobacco and talked with a frenzied drawl. "You're a real skinny pair, aren't you? Look at you. You guys fight?" We said no. "What, you guys faggots? No fudgebackers riding this truck." He gave me a nudge to the ribs. "Nah, I'm kidding you. He bobbed his head up and down and drummed his hands on the steering wheel. "Know what a secret bar fighting is?" he asked, spitting his sluice into a McDonald's cup. "You draw the biggest motherfucker in the group and nobody else will fuck with you. Last night, me and a buddy of mine, we were in a bar in Calgary, and these newfies, they started a fight with us. It's always a newfie or a caper or some big dumb blue noser or starts a shit. We just got back from the oil patch with our paychecks, my buddy and me, and we're on a good drunk. I'm a fighter. I don't back down. I went up to the gaffer and gave him one square on the nose. He went down just like that. Get her done. None of his buddies wanted to fight me. I took the biggest hitter out, one shot. Boom, like so." He swung at me and made me flinch. "Look, I ain't gonna hit ya. Right, princess?" he said, addressing Hunter. "I wouldn't hit him." Hunter shook his head. Don't talk much, do you, princess?" I could tell he was making Hunter uncomfortable. He sure as hell was making me uncomfortable. I could picture him beating the shit out of us just for kicks. "Come on, you faggots, get up, princess," he would say, standing over our bloody bodies. I reassured myself that we were safe with the rationalization that we would not be much sport for someone who beat up cowboys in Calgary. It wouldn't be worth his time. "Here, hold the wheel," he said as he reached through the back seat to retrieve a bag of dried meat. "Buddy of mine owns a ranch. Here, try some of that. You like music? Check this song out." He put on a country song that had a chorus that went something like this. "Gonna tie my pecker to my leg, gonna tie my pecker to my leg." He sang along to the chorus as he raced across the prairie at breakneck speed. The Trans-Canada had become a rugged two-lane strip of asphalt that disappeared into the horizon. When the song came to an end, he started over. He played it again and again and made us sing along with him. There was nothing we could do but obey. We had a long way to go. Brian was going across the whole province of Saskatchewan and all the way to Manitoba. "First I gotta stop in Regina," Brian said. There's a little whore I know there. Gonna bury my balls deep inside that whore's box. Get her done. He stepped on the gas and took the truck up to 90. You want to go at her? He asked, giving us a sideways wink. My treat? We declined the offer. Suit yourself. I'll drop you guys off at a diner or something. Buy you dinner and I'll be back for you. What do you think, princess? You started the song and turned up the volume. As we were singing about strapping our dicks to our thighs, we passed an old man hitchhiking. Should we pick him up? Brian asked. I said, sure. The truck screeched to a halt, a good quarter of a mile up the road from where the man stood. Jesus Christ, that's an ugly-looking Indian, Brian said as the man came closer. I thought I was an ugly Indian, but fuck, he'll have to get a haircut and take a bath before he rides in my truck. The old man finally caught up to us. When he went for the door, Brian rolled down the window and shook his head and said, "I'm back, buddy." The thin, haggard man crawled into the open bed of the truck. He nearly fell out as Brian threw the truck into gear. The man was going to Medicine Hat. "Hey, check this out," Brian said. He slammed on the brakes a few times, giving us all, especially the man in the back, an unexpected jolt. He laughed as we suffered our whiplash. By the time we reached Medicine Hat, our hitchhiker was all too ready to get out. It was a small cow town. Its few brown buildings and rusting gas stations blended in with the monotony of the prairie land. Brian filled the tank at one rusty gas station and announced that he was going to sleep in the back of the seat. He put Hunter in charge of driving. "Just keep driving straight, but whatever you do," he warned, "don't let the tank run low." The snoring of Brian's alcohol-induced slumber lifted a huge burden off our chests. We breathed easier now that we were in control. Hunter began talking again. We were on a road trip now. We drove happily for hours down the flat, narrow ribbon that was Canada's one and only cross-country highway. All was fine and dandy until Hunter glanced at the gas gauge. It was nearly empty. The truck had burned up nearly 40 gallons of gas in less than 3 hours. We panicked. Brian woke up. He looked at the gauge and became livid with rage. "Pull the truck the fuck over!" he screamed. "Jesus fucking Christ, I told you not to let the tank run low. There ain't no gas stations out here." Hunter pulled the truck over and got behind the wheel. "Can't believe it. You let the tank run low. Fuck, fuck, fuck." With a sharp jerk of the wheel, he turned off the highway and sped down a dirt road. I thought we were done for. He was going to take us out into a field in the middle of nowhere and beat the shit out of us. My heart began to beat faster. "Where are we going?" I asked. "Where the fuck do you think I'm going? Looking for gas. One of these farmers ought to have gas." A good quarter of an hour was wasted on the dirt road in search of fuel, circumnavigating field after field. We finally came to a barn with a farmer in it. The farmer had no gas, but he told us about a small gas station 10 miles up the gravel road. The truck was already running on fumes. Surely Brian would murder us if we ran out of gas. I crossed my fingers and hoped for a miracle. It was Sunday. By some amazing stroke of luck, we made it to the pump. Brian filled the tank in silent disgust. There would be no more singing, no more princess, no more get her done. We had blown it. We drove in silence until he dropped us off in the highway somewhere outside of Regina, Saskatchewan. "Something tells me he's not going to come back for us," Hunter said, setting his bag down the highway. "What the hell was that guy's deal?" I said. Hunter gave the rhetorical question some thought. "He's alone in this world. It's him against everyone. The First Nations oil patch worker. He always has to come out swinging." "I can't believe he didn't kill us," I said. "We were at his mercy the whole time. I was really scared when he lost it." "I was uncomfortable the whole time," Hunter said. "No shit," I said. "He was a real deal cowboy. Drinking, fighting, fucking. That was what he was all about. Guys like us don't stand a chance against guys like him." We made a new sign and flew it. All right now.